Nothing escalates our sense of wonder quite like plunging into the unknown depths of our oceans. While humans have mapped the surface of Mars with greater detail than our own seafloor, the mysterious realm beneath the waves remains Earth's final frontier. The Midnight Zone, technically known as the bathypelagic zone, sits between 1,000 and 4,000 meters below the surface, where sunlight is merely a distant memory and pressure would crush a human body in seconds. Yet in this hostile environment, life not only exists, it thrives in ways that challenge our understanding of biology itself. Imagine descending through the water column, watching as the vibrant blues fade to murky greens, then to an all-consuming blackness. At 1,000 meters down, you've entered a world where 99% of the planet's habitable space exists. Yet we've explored less than 5% of it. The Midnight Zone alone comprises roughly 20% of our entire ocean's volume, a vast lightless realm larger than all land habitats combined. The creatures that call this darkness home have evolved extraordinary adaptations that seem pulled from science fiction. Take the Bioluminescent fish, with a transparent head filled with fluid and eyes that can rotate upward to spot prey silhouetted against the faint glow from above. Or consider the vampire squid, which despite its fearsome name feeds primarily on marine snow, the constant shower of organic debris falling from upper waters. When threatened, it doesn't squirt ink like its shallow water cousins. Instead, it ejects bioluminescent mucus that confuses predators while it escapes into the darkness. The pressure at these depths is crushing, over 100 times what we experience at sea level. Every 10 meters you descend adds another atmosphere of pressure. By the time you reach the Midnight Zone, the pressure would be equivalent to having a small car balanced on your thumbnail. Yet the creatures here have cell membranes and proteins specially adapted to function under these conditions. Their bodies contain high concentrations of trimethylamine, a compound that prevents proteins from being squeezed into dysfunctional shapes under extreme pressure. Perhaps most fascinating is how life in the Midnight Zone has mastered the art of bioluminescence, creating light through biochemical reactions. Approximately 90% of deep-sea creatures possess this ability, making it the most common form of communication on our planet. The anglerfish's famous headlamp isn't just a fishing lure, it's actually filled with bioluminescent bacteria that live in a symbiotic relationship with the fish. The fish provides nutrients and the bacteria provide light, a perfect partnership forged in darkness. But the light shows of the deep aren't just for hunting. They serve as defense mechanisms, mating displays, and even camouflage. Some shrimp species can vomit bioluminescent clouds to distract predators, the underwater equivalent of a smoke bomb. Certain squid can detach glowing body parts that continue to pulse and move, creating decoys while they slip away. Others use counter-illumination, producing light on their undersides that matches the faint glow from above, effectively erasing their silhouettes from predators looking up. The deep sea's food web operates on a different economy than surface ecosystems. With no sunlight for photosynthesis, there's no primary production as we understand it in terrestrial or shallow marine environments. Instead, most Midnight Zone inhabitants rely on marine snow, that constant shower of dead organisms, fecal matter, and organic debris sinking from above. This process effectively transfers carbon from the atmosphere to the deep ocean, making these bizarre creatures crucial players in our planet's carbon cycle and climate regulation. Some deep-sea communities have found alternative energy sources altogether. Hydrothermal vents, underwater geysers spewing superheated, mineral-rich water, support entire ecosystems based on chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis. Bacteria convert chemicals like hydrogen sulfide into energy, forming the base of a food web that includes giant tube worms growing up to 2 meters long with bright red plumes and no digestive systems. Instead, they house symbiotic bacteria in specialized organs called trophosome, which provide all their nutrition. The cold seeps areas where methane and hydrogen sulfide leak from the seafloor host similar chemosynthetic communities. Here you'll find bizarre creatures like xenophytophores, single-celled organisms that can grow to 20 centimeters across, making them the largest single cells on Earth. They build intricate shells from whatever particles they find on the seafloor, creating miniature habitats for smaller organisms. Time moves differently in the Midnight Zone. Without the sun's daily cycle, many deep-sea creatures don't follow the 24-hour patterns familiar to surface dwellers. Some species live extraordinarily long lives. The Greenland shark can live over 400 years, making it the longest-lived vertebrate known to science. These sharks grow so slowly that they don't reach sexual maturity until around 150 years of age. Their flesh contains high levels of urea and trimethylamine oxide, making it toxic unless properly processed, a fact Icelandic people discovered centuries ago when creating hakkerl, their fermented shark delicacy. The Midnight Zone also hosts one of the planet's most spectacular daily migrations. Each night, countless organisms from the deep rise toward the surface to feed under cover of darkness, then descend again before dawn to avoid visual predators. This vertical migration is the largest movement of biomass on Earth, involving trillions of organisms and spanning hundreds of meters. Scientists studying this phenomenon have nicknamed it the biological pump for its role in actively transporting carbon from surface waters to the deep ocean. Deep-sea gigantism is another fascinating adaptation found in these pressurized depths. Many arthropods and other invertebrates grow to sizes far exceeding their shallow water relatives. The Japanese spider crab can reach a leg span of 3.8 meters, while the giant isopod, essentially a roly-poly the size of a house cat, can grow to 50 centimeters. This gigantism may result from higher oxygen efficiency in cold waters, reduced predation pressure, or adaptations to the food scarcity of the deep. Speaking of scarcity, feeding strategies in the midnight zone often border on the extreme. The gulper eel can unhinge its jaw and inflate its stomach to consume prey larger than itself. The black swallower can ingest fish 10 times its own mass, sometimes with fatal consequences when the prey begins to decompose inside the predator before digestion is complete. The viperfish's teeth are so long they wouldn't fit in its mouth if not for a specialized joint that allows them to fold back against the roof of its mouth when closed. Reproduction in these depths presents unique challenges. With populations spread thinly across vast darkness, finding a mate becomes problematic. Male anglerfish solve this by parasitic mating. When a male finds a female, he bites into her body and physically fuses with her, eventually losing his eyes, fins, and most internal organs until he's nothing but a sperm-producing appendage attached to the female. Other species like the deep-sea dragonfish use bioluminescent patterns as mating signals, creating light shows that can be seen from surprising distances in the clear, dark waters. The deep sea also serves as a living museum of evolutionary history. Some species, like the frilled shark with its primitive features, have remained virtually unchanged for millions of years. These living fossils provide valuable insights into ancient oceans and evolutionary processes. The coelacanth, once thought extinct for 65 million years until discovered alive in 1938, continues to be found in deep waters off South Africa and Indonesia, its lobed fins offering clues about the transition of vertebrates from water to land. Human impact has reached even these remote depths. Recent studies have found microplastics in the guts of animals from the deepest ocean trenches. Persistent organic pollutants like PCBs concentrate in deep-sea organisms, and mining interests are increasingly eyeing the mineral-rich seafloor for exploitation. Deep-sea trawling, dragging heavy nets across the bottom, can destroy ancient coral forests and sponge gardens that have grown over thousands of years. Climate change also threatens the midnight zone through ocean acidification and changing circulation patterns. As surface waters warm and become less dense, they mix less readily with deeper waters, potentially reducing oxygen availability in the depths. The consequences for deep-sea ecosystems remain largely unknown but concerning. Yet there's hope in our growing understanding of these environments. New technologies are expanding our ability to study the deep without disturbing it. Soft robotics allow scientists to gently handle delicate organisms, while environmental DNA sampling can detect species presence from just traces of genetic material in the water. Autonomous underwater vehicles can now map and photograph vast areas of seafloor with unprecedented detail. The pharmaceutical potential of deep-sea organisms offers another reason for conservation. The extreme conditions of the deep have driven the evolution of unique biochemical adaptations with promising applications. Compounds from deep-sea sponges show anti-cancer properties, while enzymes from vent bacteria function at temperatures and pressures that would destroy most proteins, making them valuable for industrial processes. Perhaps most importantly, the Midnight Zone reminds us of how much remains unknown on our own planet. Each deep-sea expedition discovers species new to science, with some estimates suggesting that over 2/3 of deep-sea species remain undescribed. The recent discovery of the bigfin squid, with arms up to 8 meters long, demonstrates that even large animals can evade human detection in these remote realms. As we look to the stars and dream of finding life on distant planets, we might do well to remember that alien-like creatures already exist here on Earth, in the darkness beneath the waves. The Midnight Zone challenges our understanding of life's limits and reminds us that adaptation and survival can take forms beyond our imagination. The next time you stand at the ocean's edge, consider what lies beneath, not just physically, but in terms of scientific knowledge waiting to be discovered. In the words of marine biologist Sylvia Earle, with every drop of water you drink, every breath you take, you're connected to the sea. The Midnight Zone may seem remote, but its creatures and processes are inextricably linked to our own survival on this blue planet. As our technologies improve and our curiosity deepens, we continue to illuminate the darkness of Earth's final frontier. Each discovery not only expands our understanding of life's potential, but also increases our responsibility to protect these fragile ecosystems before we fully comprehend their importance. The Midnight Zone has thrived in darkness for millions of years. The question now is whether it can survive the light of human discovery.